Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking a truly fascinating puzzle in modern aviation, and that's how we integrate helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft right into the exact same bustling airport environment. Honestly, it is a complex, high-stakes logistical symphony, and we're going to break down exactly how it all works. Starting from a macro bird's-eye view, just think about what's happening at a major airport. You've got massive airliners taking off, business jets taxiing, helicopters hovering and landing, and they are all sharing the exact same airspace, the same runways, and the same aprons. Now, right up front, we have to keep in mind that specific arrangements always vary depending on the individual airport, local jurisdictions, and the specific aircraft types. But the underlying objective? That never changes. It's one shared system with a single common goal, keeping operations safe.
So let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the shared environment, different capabilities, integrating air traffic control, the shared ground, coordinated emergencies, and finally, one unified safety system. Basically, we're going to zoom from the sky all the way down to the tarmac and back up again. Let's go.
Section 1. The shared environment. So where can helicopters actually operate?
Well, have you ever wondered exactly where on the airport footprint a helicopter is actually allowed to go? They aren't just limited to one single designated spot. Depending on the airport's setup, they might use purpose-built helipads, operate directly on the main runways, or use specific business aviation aprons and emergency service bases. But, not every area is suitable. Things like physical location, design limits, airspace rules, and local procedures ultimately dictate exactly where these incredibly agile machines can safely touch down.
And that brings us to a really crucial concept from our source material. Location does not equal authorization. Basically, just because a huge, flat, empty space exists on the airport doesn't mean a helicopter can simply drop out of the sky and land there. No way. Every single movement requires strict risk management, formal authorization, and seamless coordination with the wider airport management.
Moving into Section 2, different capabilities, different considerations.
To really understand how they share the space, we have to look at how fundamentally different these machines are. We're talking about two completely different philosophies of flight operating in the exact same environment. Fixed-wing aircraft generate lift through continuous forward speed, right? So they absolutely depend on that speed, long operating distances, and runways. Helicopters, on the other hand, generate lift with rotating blades. They rely on vertical lift, hover capabilities, and just incredible agility.
Think about what that actually means in practice. Fixed-wing planes require long takeoff and landing runs, and they are completely direction-dependent based on the runway. Meanwhile, helicopters can operate from highly compact areas and aren't really bound by runway direction in the same way. Down on the ground, an airliner needs a massive amount of space to turn and it taxis at higher speeds, whereas a helicopter can maneuver at very low speeds with unmatched agility in super tight spaces. These differing capabilities demand entirely different operational considerations.
So, how do we manage that? Section 3. Integrating air traffic control.
The answer is sitting right in the middle of it all, the control tower. Air traffic control, or ATC, is the unseen hub of all this orchestration. They conceptually integrate both airspace and ground movements. Whether they're handling an airliner on approach, a departing helicopter holding just outside the control zone, or a business jet taxiing below, it is one team working one master plan to maintain safe separation. And a key part of that plan is prioritizing traffic. For instance, distress or emergency calls will absolutely always take precedence over, say, a taxiing aircraft or a routine departure.
To manage this giant, dynamic puzzle, ATC uses a core set of tools. They rely on incredibly clear, concise, two-way communication. They issue highly specific clearances and instructions. They actively route and sequence traffic to minimize delays and reduce risk. They maintain strict vertical, lateral, and longitudinal separation. And underpinning all of this, continuous situational awareness and coordination with ground operations, emergency services, and ramp teams.
Okay, let's step out of the tower and head down to the tarmac for Section 4, the shared ground environment. Just think about the sheer number of moving parts down here. You've got fuel services enforcing safety exclusion zones, baggage and cargo handlers, maintenance crews needing safe access, heavy ground equipment driving around the apron, and of course, passengers navigating through the middle of it all. It is a highly complex choreography. This shared space literally demands shared responsibility. Good coordination and strict adherence to standard procedures are exactly what prevent costly incidents in this bustling shared environment. But what's truly fascinating about this environment are the invisible hazards.
See, aircraft don't just sit there occupying physical space. They project massive physical forces out into the space around them. And ground crews have to respect these invisible forces just as much as the physical aircraft themselves.
To put that into perspective, think about the forces we're dealing with. Helicopters create rotor downwash, a relentless, powerful downward and outward airflow that can violently launch loose objects or even knock people entirely off balance. Then you have fixed-wing aircraft unleashing jet blast, basically hurricane force exhaust that pushes objects away, not to mention their trailing wake turbulence. Both of these powerful forces can instantly turn a rogue tool, a bag, or just loose debris into dangerous foreign object debris, or FOD. This is exactly why safety zones are absolute necessities, not just friendly suggestions.
Next up, Section 5, Passengers and Ground Operations.
Now, every passenger's journey might look a little different depending on the specific type of helicopter operation, but the professional standards of safety remain identical across the board. Passenger safety, security, and even their comfort depend entirely on highly controlled processes from the moment they step into the terminal to the second they buckle into that helicopter. We can trace this journey step by step. It always starts with check-in and security screening. Then comes a critical safety briefing, because let's face it, flying in a helicopter is a bit different from boarding a massive commercial jetliner. Next is controlled movement, where passengers are carefully escorted via authorized routes out to the airside. Finally, they reach the designated stand and board strictly under the direction of ground crew following standard procedures. It's a tightly managed chain of custody from start to finish.
But what happens when things don't go according to plan? Let's stress test the system in Section 6, Coordinated Emergency Response.
When an incident occurs, the response isn't just about sending out a fire truck. A helicopter incident requires a massive, immediate, and heavily coordinated airport response. It's built on highly prepared teams' instantaneous shared information and absolute clarity of command and control.
Just look at the interconnected stakeholders required to manage a crisis. Air traffic control has to instantly protect the airspace and coordinate units. The Rescue and Firefighting Service, or RFFS, jumps in to secure the area and provide fire suppression. Airport operations activates the emergency plan and manages access. Medical teams rush to assess casualties, while police and security lock down the scene and manage the public. It's a massive, collective effort where communication is the only thing standing between chaos and control. Finally, let's pull back for Section 7. One unified safety system. Pulling back to our macro view of the entire airport ecosystem, you can really see how all these pieces fit together. We've got different vehicles, varying operations, multiple stakeholders, and completely different types of aircraft. But underneath all of that complexity, it's a single interconnected network built entirely on a shared safety culture. From the fuel farm to the control tower, from the baggage handlers to the helicopter pilots, everyone is connected by common situational awareness and defined responsibilities. One airport, different aircrafts, shared system. It truly is a remarkable feat of human coordination. So, the next time you look out a terminal window, will you just see a stretch of concrete? Or will you see the invisible, complex choreography that makes modern aviation possible? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.